I have my fan on. I don't know if you guys can hear it or if that messes you up or should I
I don't
turn it
hear
up?
it.
I can't hear it either.
Okay, good, good, good.
I cannot.
All right.
I think you're all good.
Cool, cool, cool. And I will hit the button and don't embarrass me. Is it going to work the first time? Let us see. It always goes to a server in Quebec. Why?
What are you using a VPN to?
No, it's just Twitch.
Also, using a VPN to pretend you're Canadian? Like, why?
Well, only on the weekends. Only on the
Well,
weekends.
make you feel better about yourself.
Yes. Yes. All right. It is Thursday, February the 11th. This GameEnthus podcast, episode 428. And megaran is not following us.
Hey.
We have arrived, gentlemen.
Oh.
We are here. And I'm Aaron, one of the hosts here. Tiny is here.
Hey, I am here. I got nothing else to add to that.
Okay. Mike is here. He's also
Nothing.
Plock.
No, oh, jeez, not again.
You know
I'll say
you're
nothing
Plock
needed.
every week, right? You know this.
Well, I don't know. Pick something that I've ever touched. Never played Plot.
You were Keith Courage for quite some time.
That's fine. Keith Courage is a cool dude.
Okay, next week you'll be Keith Courage. I
All
promise.
right, sounds good.
Just remind me.
Alpha Zero.
Anyway, we're always here. So what's important is that megaran is joining us.
Hey.
So do you want us to call you Raheem or call you megaran? What do you want us to call you? What do you prefer?
Well, I don't know. I guess Megaran is fine.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
I think Megaran's good.
Okay.
You know, nobody calls me Raheem except my mom. So for the most part. If I hear that, I'll be like, what? Am I in trouble?
So I'm glad that you've taken the time to join us, and I know that you just released very recently a book, a memoir, if you will.
Yes. Yeah. Dream Master. The memoir is out now. And this was quite an experience to put together, man. But it's been at least 5-6 years in the making of me just jotting stuff down. And I'm really happy to finally have it out for people to consume, but it's also very nerve-wracking, in that same sense. But I'm really proud of the story I was able to tell, and I hope that people are able to be inspired by it somehow,
Yeah, I do have to admit I am I think 2 chapters from the end. So
Oh, nice.
So I'm right there. But in terms of inspiration, I guess one of the first things I would say is the transparency. I'm reading your book and I'm thinking to myself, could I ever be that transparent with people? And I don't know if I could. And I respect that because I know I can't do it.
Even from the moment it was ready to be released, I was so nervous, and still am, that I feel like my life's kind of an open book through my music, but this is just an entirely new level. And now, we already had some pretty personal conversations with fans at the merch table or after shows where people were like, hey, I went through this thing and you did too, and yada yada. But now I think it's just going to be even more it's expressive to the point where I'll be like, man, I forgot you knew that. You know what I mean?
I did write that down.
Oh yeah, I did write that down. That's going to be that's the part I'm looking forward to, but not, it's just being face to face with people after they've read this, and the questions they may have is it's scary to think, that someone knows these intricate details of you, but people have told me man, I relate. I've been there. I've seen it. These things have happened to me, and so I'm happy to be able to tell those stories for the people who may not, have the courage to do so.
Yeah, I had, I just listening, to your music and, having spoken to you before, you get the sort of the cliff notes, and the book definitely fills in a lot of I knew you were an educator, but I did not realize the ups and my wife is an educator, so I understand, not personally, but just I understand what the amount of work that goes into it. And being a Zoom educator, my wife was having kids do testing today. That just seemed like everybody was struggling. These are 6-year-olds,
Wow.
But just your ups and downs in teaching and just the
And
way that one principal,
oh yeah,
how he
dirty.
did that to you, that made
He
me
did
so
dirty, man.
angry.
I wish, like, I didn't want it to go down that way, but I really wished it hadn't. You know, it was like, you know, but it was a harsh lesson for me. Like, yo, life is not going to be fair. Everybody's not going to be happy with the decisions you make. You know, it felt very petty. You know, and I was just like, this couldn't be happening to me. Like, it's a few moments like that in this book where I'm just like, this isn't really happening. Like, is it? You know, and that was one of them. So, but hopefully, I mean, I just hope and pray that any other teacher has not had the experiences that I've had. You know, like I had a rough go at it. You know, coming up in some strange, you know, schools, in some strange situations. But they are, I would hope, are not the norm. You know, I know that every teacher's probably got some horror stories. You know, but I think any teacher can write a book for sure. Like of the stuff they've seen. It's just how much do you really want to say and risk getting in trouble?
Potentially, yeah.
You know.
And I think about like when you're talking about No Child Left Behind, when that was fairly new, and then once everybody had, you know, reluctantly whatever had embraced it, and all the new regulations they had, and how that affected you, where like you were doing something, and all of a sudden it was like, well, no, you have to either be in school now or getting ready to go back in order to teach kids a certain, you know, special ed or what have you, because that law was passed. And just when you mentioned it, you were like, yeah, it sounds like a great thing. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to keep reading. And I feel like his opinion might change on No Child Left Behind.
Yeah,
and it did.
It did. And I'm still to this day, I don't know if I'm fully decided on whether it's a good or bad thing. I just feel like anything, you know, when blanket legislature is passed, like things get left out and people get, you know, kind of, you know, forced to fend for themselves and kind of left and falling through the cracks, you know, and that's kind of what happened to me. I think teachers and students in some ways, you know, kind of fell through the cracks, and these are the people that it's supposed to help. So yeah, I had some issues with it, but I understand. Like, if I wanted to go teach today after 10 years out of schooling, education, I shouldn't be able to. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I should not be able to just pick right up. A lot has changed, you know? So I do understand that.
Yeah. So I guess you said it was a 5 to 6 year period that you were putting everything together for the book. And I'm sure there were some parts where you were like, do I want to do this? Do I not want to do this? Did you wrestle with that within yourself, or did you talk to somebody and say, people who know you already, know you very well, and say, listen, I want to talk about these things. Is this too much?
Yeah, I've talked to people, and a lot of them were like, "Ah, man, just tell it, you know, tell your truth." Then when I got to the actual like editing process and possibility of publishing, that's when it got real. So then the publishers come to me and they're like, "So this thing you say about this person, like, they could sue you for this, you know, so you need to be very careful and very sure that you have proof of what you're saying, and or just change their name." And I was like, all right, well, I'm going to change their name. So for the most part, there's no real names in the book, if it's a incriminating thing. Because yeah, like people could get really offended and just decide, you know, they want to sue you, and I don't have any money, so I ain't trying to get sued.
So you talk a lot about GameStop and enjoying the work that you did there, because, you know, obviously you're a gamer, you enjoy video games and gaming in general.
Yeah, technically this was before they became GameStop, so this was EB Games.
This is it was
formerly
EB Games,
Electronic Boutique, and then later they became GameStop, I believe, right toward the moment that my entire staff was fired. Then they did a big changeover, and I think then it became GameStop.
Oh, yeah. You've been through a lot.
I mean, you know, working jobs and stuff, you know, I wanted that to be a part of the story too. Like that the music thing didn't just happen overnight. Like you got to fund your dreams somehow, you know? So I was gladly working jobs because I wanted to make sure that what I was doing was being properly funded, like there's of course there's shortcuts, you know what I mean? But I wanted to make sure that this stuff was properly funded with doing the right thing. And so yeah, like I worked the job for as long as I could until it was time for me to do something else. And I gave my all to everything that I did. And that's what my mother always taught me. Like, whatever you're gonna do, give it your all. You can't like give 100% to 2, 3, 4, 5 different things. It's just not possible. So the moment I couldn't give 100% to teaching, that's when I moved on, and but yeah, I enjoyed GameStop. I really did. They could have paid us more and the discounts could have been better, but yeah, I enjoyed it.
It's a good time. And then just how much mileage you got out of the MTV, the PS2 game.
Oh man,
I've never tried it before. I had no idea like you could take something like that and really just stretch it out.
Game is phenomenal. But that's with anything though. Any piece of software that you sit down long enough with, you can make magic happen with it. I've seen some people that make amazing videos. I'm like, what are you using? And they're like, iMovie, and I'm like, oh, dang, okay. What are you editing your podcast with? They're like, GarageBand. And I'm like, what? So you can absolutely do amazing things if you know what you're doing or you spend enough time on something. So I didn't have a computer, couldn't afford one at the time, and had a PlayStation, and they brought out a game, MTV Music Generator, for PS1. Then they later did it for PS2. I think they did it for PS3 too. But $40, and you could sample like other games and other music, to make beats and things out of it. So it was just the perfect tool for me to learn. And it just worked out, but again, in the beginning, it was garbage. I was like, this sucks. Like, there's no way I could do this. But then you put the time in, you work at the time in, and then something cool comes out of it.
That's all right. Yeah, I gotta check that out. I did not know. And then you talking about like trying to fit stuff onto the PS2 memory card, and it just
yeah, man, memory card. We were so like confined when it came to that stuff. So yeah, if I sampled from a record, it would create a file that was like 1 gig, and there's no way a gig can freaking fit on a memory card. No. So an 8 meg memory card.
Yeah, the
so
8
you're like
PS2. Oh.
Yeah, you're like screwed. You thought we had the big one. We got the 16 meg, and still couldn't fit the songs on there. So it was stuck. But it was just practice, because if I couldn't take, in music, if you can't track out your song, like take, okay, the drums here, the melody here, the bass here, it's really useless, because by the time you take it to a big studio, that's what all those knobs are for. They're for those different levels. Right. And if I don't have any control over those levels, because all I gave you is an MP3 that I just, burned from this game, it's almost useless. So I didn't really realize that. And luckily, a lot of people that I worked with didn't realize that either, because they weren't like super serious about their like music career. They just wanted to make something fun for their friends. And that's what I wanted to do too. So no one was thinking about creating something that would change the game.
Wow. Sorry. So I do feel like for people who are familiar with you, they've probably kind of diving right in. But I guess I should ask you, for those who are not, just tell a little bit about, I guess we're kind of going backwards here, like how you got to where you are, like in like you like a summary, I guess.
Right, how about an introduction?
Like, yeah, introduction.
Megaran.
We didn't do an introduction, but that's okay.
And that's on me.
I've been on like a previous episode way back in the day.
I was going to look at which episode it was, and I forgot to do it. I could look it up, but it's been a little while.
You can go back for the old intro. I would love to hear that as a comparison to today. Probably.
I don't know if I would.
Yeah, I don't know if we would from a quality standpoint.
That's fair. That's fair. But yeah, man, I am megaran. I am a former teacher turned hip hop artist, video game enthusiast, musician. Teacher, rapper, hero, I call myself. I love gaming. I love hip hop. One day I decided to put those things together, made a bunch of songs about Mega Man, Final Fantasy, and all the game series that I love. Got a Guinness World Record for doing that. And prior to COVID, I traveled around the world trying to bring joy to people by playing music live. But lately I've been at home streaming, doing Twitch, doing all types of things, writing new music, and I just released a new book called Dream Master, which is a memoir about basically my early life until like about late 2017 is where it ends, and it ends with the receipt of the Guinness World Record.
That's what's up. Okay, so for a little background, you were on episode 97 on June 1st, 2012.
Wow.
This is even far. I was thinking about 7 years, but
Nah, I see. Yeah,
that's closing in on 9.
Gray.
Dang, that was before all the gray. Yeah, man. It's probably before some kids, before some marriages, before all that.
Before
Man.
many. Well, no, actually, all my kids were born by then. But yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But still.
For me, it was before marriage for sure. I was 2012. The year after I quit my job. Yeah. Wow. I would like to hear that just to see where
I can put the link into. Yeah, I can do that.
I want to check it out after this.
I think it's funny. You mentioned getting married. I remember we were at MAGfest and you proposed to your now wife. That was real dope
there.
to be there for that. That was cool.
Thank you for sharing in that moment. That was awesome. It was the most like hectic day of my life, but it's in the book. We went through so much to make that happen, and I'm glad MAGfest was accommodating, and it's a huge crowd. Like there's just no better feeling than that. Like just a bunch of great supporters being able to be a part of a real special moment.
Yeah, and I'm sure you've been hearing about what MAGfest has been going through as of late. So
I have.
yeah.
Do you guys have any? Have you guys done an episode talking about that? Is there a general opinion consensus here?
I mean, now that the executive is out, and I mean, there's a chance for them to rebuild, and we'll see what the make rates are for that kind of stuff. We'll see.
Yeah, for sure.
If the people come back, or there will be a games and music festival, GameFest next year probably, and it'll all start over again, and everyone can go back to like the Hilton Mark, and MAGfest will be like
I really miss the Gaylord though. I'll miss the Gaylord.
The Gaylord's great.
It got huge.
I love that place.
I mean,
I do think, yeah, anything though that starts off as a bunch of fun friends getting together and then becomes a giant staple in the community that even like people from beyond the community become a part of, things get lost in that translation for sure. Yeah. And that's with anything, you know.
It's almost
so
inevitable.
I do hope they're back together and get it all. I mean, this is a good time because nobody was going anywhere anyway. So we got plenty of time to rebuild and make this thing right for hopefully next year.
Yeah. It will be nice.
Yeah, hopefully.
I did miss it, after New Year's, you just get hyped about, playing a bunch of games.
That was the thing to look forward to at the end of the year. Like, I'm going to be out here on New Year's, having concerts and going into cold DC, and, just having fun with friends, man. I really miss it.
Yeah, it's good times.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I brought everything down.
Well, okay, you brought it down.
I mean,
now you got to bring it back up.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a discussion of like, hey, that's what's all going on, and we'll get back to it. Like too many games, like I miss too many games. I miss all of these shows that we used to go to, or I'd go to talk about Extra Life and whatnot. So, we'll
be back on.
We'll get back there.
We had a chat on another show, and I'm curious what you guys think. What do you guys think is the first convention that will be back, where people will be there?
PAX East was sort of like the last one before all this.
I would say like PAX South, maybe. Wasn't that one in like January, February?
I don't think PAX South is coming back, so I'll say PAX East.
PAX East, okay.
PAX South was always a loser
or PAX
for him.
West, I think will be one of the first. I mean, PAX East is still on for this year. They haven't canceled, but I think they will have to.
But
that's. I mean, it's in June right now. They're saying, and they're
they're going to try to hold on.
Maybe PAX. Oh God, what's the board game one called?
Unplugged.
That's it.
Yeah, November
in Philadelphia in December. So.
Is it December now?
I could see
It was always December.
It's always the end of the year.
Yeah, it
so,
was towards. I went to one, had a great time, and that's it. You know what I mean?
Wow. Yeah, I've never been to an Unplugged. I heard it's good though.
But
Yeah, I'm hopeful that Midwest Gaming Classic, who's trying to do theirs in November, can happen. But a lot of time between now and then.
Yeah, It really comes down to like I guess venues, like saying they're going to charge. They're going to charge people for booking a spot. It's like if you can get it released, then you're like, we'll plan for the preview, for the next year. But if they're still holding you to it, I guess kind of.
I mean, the other half of that is people being comfortable enough to go.
Oh well, that's kind of everything.
You need people got to be comfortable. So that means we all got to get vaccinated.
Exactly.
People got to feel good about it, And so I think top of the year. But people are saying concerts and things are going to come back by the fall, and maybe, but the people have to be comfortable in order for that to happen.
It might be real.
Well, I would say depending on the location and the clientele that you're going after, there's people that are comfortable right now going, hey, I'll do anything anywhere. I don't need to wear nothing.
See a video of people at a Bow Wow concert. What was that in Florida?
Houston.
Houston. I mean,
It's
wherever it was.
How desperate are you?
I'm saying, who is going to risk killing their grandmother to go see Bow Wow? I'm sorry.
Definitely not killing grandma.
I'd like to see Bow Wow.
Not at all. Nope.
I shouldn't be flip about it, but come on, what are we doing here?
No, but that's true, man. That's usually the thing that I always equate it to. I always all right, is it worth killing grandma? And very few things are. So here we are, you can say, oh, I'll be careful, but you just don't know, man. So
being careful has nothing to do with it, though.
No, it has nothing to do with it.
You could have no idea. And anyway.
It could really mean well.
It's the same stuff as you see the Super Bowl celebrations coming out from Tampa and whatnot. I don't know what you people are thinking.
No, I don't get it at all. How could you possibly be that crazy right now?
Right.
And the cardboard, what was it? The $100 cardboard cutouts they put up in between people. You're in a dome, but come on, that's thousands of people.
No.
Breathing that hot breath. Come on, that's nope.
A lot of hot breath.
Speaking of Super Bowl, I was hoping to be more of a game. Not that was disappointing, but
Yeah. That's funny. I simulated the game in Tecmo Super Bowl, and it kind of turned out the same way. Not in a blowout, but it
updated roster Tecmo Super Bowl.
Yeah, there's an updated roster Tecmo Super Bowl that that I was playing in Tampa won, and I was like, oh wow! First of all, I simulated the entire season, and it still got to the end and put Tampa and Kansas City in. So I was like, this has got to be legit.
That's cool.
So the fact that happened, I was like, all right, well, let's just see what happens in the final game.
Yeah, I detest Tom Brady, but I cannot deny. But also at the same time, I feel like both offensive lines were playing for Tampa.
Yeah.
It looked like it.
And the refs.
He had no. Well, yeah.
And the refs. So it's hard to win when you got that many people rooting for you.
I was like he has literally no time to do anything ever.
No, that was insane. I've never seen them under that kind of pressure. But sports.
Yeah. How about the best commercial? Is that I don't know.
Only because I'm an old man. I really liked what was it? Postmates with Daveed Diggs, the Sesame Street.
Okay.
The people in your neighborhood. That gave me some warm and fuzzies. That was great.
The Edward Scissorhands one kind of did it for me.
Yeah.
Because I like the music.
Yeah.
That was nice.
They're doing good at roping in us.
They know what to do. Yep. This was making 20 plus years old. You got us.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my wallet,
man,
and my self control. Just be
all,
gentle.
All the stuff you mentioned, the Edward Scissorhands thing. The whole time I'm staring at, it going, "Wait a minute, that's not Johnny Depp. That is Winona Ryder."
Yeah, it took me a second too. I was like,
but the time I've got it all figured out, it's over. I have no idea what it was an ad for. And
car, right?
Yeah, I do remember reading that it was a car after the fact, but
for a drug, actually.
I don't even know.
Makes you
This
feel
is
like your
weird.
hands are scissors.
This is craziness. And then like the one you just mentioned, the Sesame Street one, it was just like, when did Big Bird's voice change? I was so taken out of it at that moment that I'm like, because like it's probably been the same voice for like 30 years, but it's been
HBO,
longer than that since I was a kid. So
Sesame Street, that was
like I was so like, that's not Big Bird, that's somebody else's voice. And then I don't have no idea what it's an ad for.
I was there for the Falcon and Winter Soldier commercial. That's the only thing I wanted to see all night.
Yes, absolutely.
Like
it was different and somewhat nice to hear Alicia Keys sing, lift every voice and sing. I guess I didn't anticipate it. Maybe I should have. I don't know. And it's nice to see Jasmine Sullivan up there. I don't know about the guy who was on the guitar. I feel like, well, why are you here? But like, we don't.
But Jasmine killed it.
Jasmine can sing. I don't know who you. I mean, it's not my. I don't know who that was. Some guy with a purple jacket on.
Well, don't do that. Don't fuddy duddy it. Like, well, I don't know.
I don't know who that was.
I don't know.
But I mean, like
kids these days,
I don't know them. So
I was so happy to see Jasmine.
There's some people we don't know that are pretty good at what they do. I try not to be that way as I get older, man. Like, I don't know any of these rappers. The Double XL does a freshman top 10. I don't know any of them, and I'm like, I have no idea who y'all are.
Oh yeah, I've been like that for the last 10.
I'm like, hey, but the kids are into it. I don't knock it. Like, let them enjoy what they enjoy. I don't know.
Yeah, but I guess you're right. You're absolutely right. But also in getting older, aren't you supposed to get more crotchety too? How do you balance that out?
Yeah. But you can fight that though. You don't have to become the old cranky old man.
Like, what if I'm just laid down and giving up? What if I'm just like,
at some point, if you don't just embrace getting old, you're that guy who's still going to like parties with 20-year-olds when you're like 62.
I love
that's
college.
true.
Hopefully you're hosting the party.
How do you do, fellow kids? Yeah,
just
you become that guy. Yeah, I get it. You can't necessarily try to be young forever, but I don't know. Aging doesn't necessarily mean aging and becoming cranky and evil about everything.
Well, yeah, you don't have
to. As you become evil.
I'm not gonna lie. I was complaining about the state of hip hop like 10 years ago. So I just know that because I have 30 years of stuff, 30 plus years of stuff that I know I like. I just listen to that because I already know I like it.
Because there's it's hip hop is a youth driven culture, so the kids are going to be the ones who push it forward. So we're not going to understand, just like our parents didn't understand when we liked our stuff.
Yeah.
Like I found myself saying stuff that my mom said, like every song sounds the same. This sounds like one long song on the radio. I don't even understand what he's saying. Those aren't words.
Mumble rap.
So I'm like, this is exactly what my mom said when she tried to listen to Snoop Dogg.
I think the only artist I could think of that my dad liked, he just liked Heavy D for some reason. Heavy D was like the only. He's like, I like Heavy D. I think it's because of Don't Curse. I don't think he even heard Don't Curse. He just liked the idea of it.
He was clean. Yeah, it was all clean. No cussing, and so people definitely appreciate that about it.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
That's it. Yeah,
my
mom was the only one. But she would hear stuff on the radio. My mom would, and then she would buy it for me, and then realize later that it wasn't clean.
Oh,
be like, oh God, I bought this. She loved the Ghetto Boys because she heard Maz playing tricks on me on the radio.
Classic, man. Rest in peace, Bushwick Bill.
And so then when on the album, it's very, very vulgar. And she's like, oh no, this is not what I heard. Oh Lord. And I'm like,
it wasn't even close to Halloween.
Not even close to Halloween.
I remember my mom heard K Solo, Your Mom's My Business. She heard the name of the song and she was like, it's disrespectful. I was like, my mom, listen to the song. I actually played the song and she was like, well, I still don't like it, but he wasn't wrong. I'm like,
there you go.
She just heard the hook. So
that's all you need to hear.
And she knew the sample, obviously. So.
Mom's in business. That's the thing. Like a lot of the older stuff we listen to, because of the samples that could get the older generation into
Yeah.
it. And they kind of do it now too. Like you see people sampling old hits from our days from the 90s, and like it works. It'll make me listen, you know.
At least for a
trap.
second. It's a
For
trap.
a moment. Yeah, it is a trap. You know, you're like, oh, I remember that. And then they're like, da 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 da, like yelling. You're like, oh no, this is not what I remember.
But nothing lasts like it did. Like I was telling to my girls, I was like, you know, we used to say something like a slang term for like a year or something like that. It'd be, you know, we use it for a while. Now people say something like a week.
Well, but because you
Nothing's
have
meant
so
to
much
last.
more stuff coming at you
That's
too.
good
Like
stuff.
it's
This
a
phone
smaller
is wild.
world.
Yeah.
It's
Like
a smaller world too.
Our timeline is moving at the speed of light.
Right.
You know, so things have to move quickly to catch up.
How can
Back
I keep
in the
up,
day,
Megaran?
I think about how when we loved rap music, we wanted to know what was good. We bought this magazine called The Source.
Oh, I love that.
And
Read
The
that thing
Source
from
would be
cover
like,
to cover.
guys, you know, in 3 months, this Nas album is about to come out that's going to change the world. And we're like, well, what am I supposed to do for this 3 months? You know, and
also,
that's it. And then
that magazine was written at least 6 to 8 weeks before you got it.
Yeah.
And it was 3 months. So like, what is going, like, there was no breaking news. Yeah, there was no breaking news in any of these magazines we're reading.
No, it couldn't break. But yet we thought it was like the thing because that was the only way to get gossip. Like, oh, this person is dating this person and they broke up. And it could be way after the fact, but we're just reading it.
I'll be calling local record stores every week. Is this how I get there? Like, no.
Yeah, and that was the only thing we had. It was like, okay, it's coming in a few months and it's going to be great, you know. Or they would get an early copy and review it, and then we're just waiting and waiting. And like that was the game, you know. It was a lot of waiting, from month to month. Now you think about the news cycle moves hourly, you know, or by the minute. And we used to wait a month for the next magazine, you know, like that time difference should explain why slang and things don't last anymore.
Were we more patient then? Because you could extrapolate the same thing for video game magazine, Nintendo Power, EGM, anything we got.
But were we patient, or was that all we had?
No,
that's all we had.
It wasn't that we had another choice. Like,
yeah, I was not patient. I wanted a new Nintendo Power the moment I got to the last page, you know, but there just wasn't another one for another month. So I had to flip back and keep reading again. You know, so yeah, we wanted more. It's just that information didn't move that fast.
That's why people's uncles and Nintendo made so much stuff up. People wanted more.
Yeah, that's why. I mean, that was when we had Game Pro, and then we had, you know, EGM, and we had all these different magazines because we just wanted to see. We just wanted more.
Sure.
You know,
there was EGM2 that was as thick as an encyclopedia at some point in time.
EGM2, yes.
And I would go to the grocery store with my mom. She would peruse, and I would just sit there and read all the magazines and never buy any of them.
Never buy them. Yep,
Hardly. I bought it every once in a while.
I remember one time a friend on my block told me that if you filled out the subscription card and just made up a credit card number, that they would send you a couple of issues of this magazine
before they figured it out.
And I was like, you're lying. And sure enough, he got an issue of Game Pro. And I was like, I'm doing it. So I filled it out, and they did. They would send me like 2 issues. And then it was like, we have a problem with your billing.
Really?
Like, you don't say. Yeah. So that was our way to get extra subscriptions. Because I had a Nintendo Power subscription. That it was like, oh, I'm not getting you Game Pro and EGM and EGM2. I'm not doing all that. So he's just like, dude, just fill it out. Just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right. And it would work.
You didn't really do much. They were sequential.
No, I don't think they were sequential. Maybe I was doing odd numbers. 1, 3, 5, 7.
Yeah, I'd like to see it. Just try 16 ones and see what happens.
It's a different time. No. Everything is at your fingertips, yet. Anyway, yeah, it's a whole nother thing. So, what games you been playing as of late, Megaran?
I've been getting my butt kicked in this game called Cyber Shadow.
You too.
Very nice. Yeah.
This game is brutal, dude. It is brutal. But I love it. I'm such a glutton for punishment that I love it. But man, there's some times where I want to slam this beautiful new blue controller down. And I'm like, wait, I can't do that. because this is very expensive. But yeah, man, it's Ninja Gaiden, but I think it's even harder than Ninja Gaiden. It is just a ridiculous level of difficulty. They teach you a new move, and then you got to use it 200 times to get through the level, like immediately. And I'm like, wait, what? I just learned how to do this. And yeah, it's insane. So I'm struggling. I'm on level 9. I don't know. I think maybe 10 is the last. I don't know. And I've put in about 9 hours of gameplay, and I've probably died 700 times.
Yeah.
It's a tough game. I do like the fact that I like the games now are finding a way to be difficult, but not because of lives.
Yeah.
So you're not worried about losing lives. It's just because you're gonna get right back in there.
Yeah, you get right back in. You just got to hit a checkpoint, you know. And Ninja Gaiden, I remember just being so mad because it was like
the birds.
You get the birds. You get the 4-1, you beat it. You get the 4-2, you beat it. You get the 4-3, and you lose. And now you're back at 4-1. And I'm like, no. Yeah. Oh, gosh.
I gotta play more of it, but yeah, it does get difficult though. That is for sure.
Well, what are you guys playing?
Tony, what are you playing?
Well, so I haven't played a whole lot, but what if I told you? Oh God, I just forgot. Powerstone. Did you? I mean, I assume everyone played Powerstone.
Ooh.
On the
Power
Dreamcast.
Dreamcast?
Well, this is going to be a comparison because what if I told you they made a Marvel version of that game, and it was in Disney Infinity?
Oh.
I call you a liar. Continue.
In the last Disney Infinity, they made a battleground where you could take 4 Marvel superheroes and put them in one arena and throw random crap at each other. And like you could have Hulkbuster versus Black Panther versus Hawkeye because you need someone to lose. So and like I broke this stuff out because I'm trying to pull together a bunch of superhero games to play in March or whatever. And I was like, man, I totally forgot about this. So I played through it, and it's like, yeah, like you can have Ultron, and I forgot they made a Vision figurine. So still only made Black Widow though, so that was weird. That there's like only one female Avenger. I don't think. Anyway, it's weird how they chose the Disney Infinity characters. But aside from that, I mean, that's.
Can we talk about that? I mean, I don't want to jump off, course too much, but I've definitely said this several times in my friend groups that Marvel has, for the longest time, so neglected, I think diversity in characters. I mean, they've done a lot better as of late, but prior to Captain Marvel, like the fact that I stand by the fact that if they would have created a Black Widow movie a few years prior, we wouldn't be talking about Wonder Woman, And
that's 100% fair. Also, Black Widow is the most capable person in Iron Man 2. Like, she does the majority of the work in that movie.
All the work.
like even when you see the Happy Hogan and her fight, and he's fighting one guy and she takes down 11 guys in that hallway.
Yeah.
But to go so far, and like Marvel, and we've talked about this in the past, but Marvel, for example, in Avengers 2, when she comes out, they're fighting in, I think, Shanghai, and she comes out of the plane on the motorcycle, and she picks up Cap's thing, and she's going after the cradle where Vision's in. Marvel made a toy of that, but they put Captain America on the motorcycle instead of Black Widow, because they're like, oh, it'll sell better. And you're like, what? How does this make sense?
Well, they look at the numbers where they say we've been marketing to boys and we've been selling to boys. We haven't tried to sell to girls. So our numbers say that we sell 0 to girls. So we better not try to sell to girls because we're not going to make any money if we do that.
Even though we have no data to say that we wouldn't.
Right. But there's a lot of things that lately have been, a lack of data proves that this is, and that's a dumb way to look at data science.
Well, it's a way of saying it's a risk. And we don't like risk.
We've tried nothing for a lot of ideas.
Exactly.
I mean, there's an SNL skit. There's an SNL Black Widow skit where, God, this has to be from like 6 or 7 years ago now, but it's a rom-com with her dating Ultron, and it's like Marvel knows girls, and it's like, I mean, it kind of addresses all the parts, and I threw the link in chat. It addresses all the parts for like yeah, Marvel was just very ignorant on that part.
Yeah, they've overlooked women, for a really long time, and I think that at this point, I would like to think that they're doing a lot better, but they got a long way to go.
They do. Sure. I mean, and we were talking before you joined, like, hey, that Black Widow movie is going to come out someday, because I don't think we can wait till movie theaters reopen. So, but looking through, so I own all of Disney Infinity because I'm that guy. And there are, there's Gamora and there's Black Widow out of 30 characters, I want to say.
Wow.
Something like that. I want to, if you go across 2.0 and 3.0. Now, that's only looking at the Marvel characters. There are other there are female characters from other brands like Star Wars and classic Disney cartoons and that kind of stuff, and The Incredibles and all that. But just looking at Marvel, those are the only 2 females in there.
It's ridiculous.
So, and it's like the whole second version of Disney Infinity 2.0 was Marvel themed. So, and what's weird is they modeled the character. So like Captain Marvel's in the game, but they never made a character for her. They also didn't make a Luke Cage character, but they made an Iron Fist figurine, which was just dumb.
Did they see the show? I don't.
Well, so it was based off of the Spider-Man cartoon at the time, where Spider-Man was part of. Yeah, so like they made a Nova a character figurine.
White Tiger, they make one.
White Tiger. See, that would have been another female. So we didn't make that. But again, they made 2,000 Yondus or 2 million Yondus, and that's why.
No, they made 2 million Hulks, thinking they were going to sell.
So you got to remember
that many.
But you also have to remember the Hulk was weirdly exclusive to the PlayStation for the first 6 months or whatever. So like you couldn't have a major part of the Avengers unless you went and bought the PlayStation version and then just like ripped them out. I mean, it's the same idea as if you wanted black suited Spider-Man, you had to buy the PS Vita version of Disney Infinity.
See, all these things are the stuff where I say, if I was super into the idea, that's what would just unsell me instantly. It'd be like, I'm not getting into all of it, so I'm not getting into any of it.
Yeah, man. Hindsight is 2020. On the other hand, there's a lot
as he
of
looks at
box
box full of stuff like
there's a lot of those characters back. They're like, I'm 3 like power discs, just the little pod looking things away, I think, from actually a complete. Well, that and they did like limited releases at those Disney conventions, and I'm like, I'm not paying $1,500 for a Mickey figurine.
What else are you gonna do with your life?
A lot of other things. Once I could start going back to conventions, I don't know, talking to people about Extra Life and how they can help children. So like at some point, but anyway, but that all comes back to, if you like Power Stone and I don't know, you want to drop $500 on a game, you could do this with Disney Infinity. Or you could just buy like the PlayStation or the PC version, which comes with all the figures unlocked already.
You can still buy that on Steam?
Yeah, I think it's like $8 or something.
$8 whole dollars.
$8 and you can play 4-player Power Stone, but instead of, I don't know, random guy in a red jacket, you could be the Hulkbuster. So, which is weirdly different than Iron Man. So
this sounds like fun to me. I think I might need to.
Is it online?
That part I would have to go check. I don't think I have Steam installed.
I guess you could. I mean, you could do the whole Steam.
You could do the
thing, which
Steam
isn't.
remote,
I've done it once, but it wasn't an action
game. Playing a board game through it.
Yeah, I played The Captain Is Dead with Will, which probably lends itself a little better to Steam remote play than something that has a lot of moving parts. Like
I think that just depends on your connections.
Wait a minute. So I've never looked at this at all, but so I searched Disney Infinity on Steam, and it's like there's 1.0, 2.0, 3.0. All of those are $9. Then there's the Gold Collection, and that's $18.
So would you recommend? Do you need to buy all of them to get all the characters? Is that how that works?
I believe they're cumulative.
I was thinking that they would be cumulative, so you just buy 3.0. If you bought
3.0 now,
but then why would they sell the other ones separately?
Because
that in 1997, I can get all 3. So
it says the Gold Collection includes 1, 2, and 3.
Right. So the reason that you would buy them separately, or if you bought that Gold Collection, the play sets don't go across. So like in Disney Infinity 1.0, it was mostly Pixar stuff. So like that's where you played The Incredibles or Monster Inc. or all that stuff. 2.0 was the Marvel stuff, and that's where like, oh, if you want to play through the Avengers game or the Spider-Man or Guardians of the Galaxy, those are the three, I think. Cool. 3.0 is mostly Star Wars, but they released this Battlegrounds for 3.0 because they released additional characters. So characters could go across games. Play sets were locked to their games.
You see, this is the perfect example of what I said just a couple of minutes ago. If I'm not in 100%, I'm out 100%.
Well,
done.
I mean, I'll be completely honest. So there were, man, I was in a lot of Disney Infinity stuff back in the day, and there were rumors like they were gonna, because Disney Infinity 1.0 was on the old systems, so that's 360, PS3. And then 2.0 crossed and was on both. And then 3.0 was, I believe, only on Xbox One, PS4. So there was rumors that they were remastering that content to bring forward. But again, Disney was like, hey, you didn't sell enough Yondu figures. We didn't make enough money on this. We made boatloads of money, but not enough.
We didn't make enough Yondu figures.
So they canceled this. Like the series was profitable for them. It just wasn't profitable enough for them.
It was an opportunity cost.
So, I mean, let's be honest. Toys to Life soon died or after that. Because, like, there's a lot of problems with Toys to Life, and I'm 100% going to recognize that. But
after they got your money, though.
Well, I mean, they all got me. Like, Skylanders, my nephews were into it, and Lego Dimensions.
That one had a lot of potential with those movie IP stuff in there. The Simpsons, Back to the Future, and was it Gremlins and Ghostbusters.
Not only that, they were selling Legos at a loss.
Eastwick, everything.
Because they had to match Disney Infinity charge a character for $8.
Like, wait a minute.
So they had to charge
Lego sales.
They had to sell Legos at a loss to make this profit, like to be able to sell against their other competitors. So like if you just like Legos, go buy a bunch of those and throw them in a box, and your kids are going to play with them.
Should have. At this point, no, it's too late. You missed your window.
But like it was. I mean, I don't know. There's a box full of boxes of Legos down in my basement. But again, I just have a problem. I never
got into Lego like that. It was cool, but I never.
But like that was real.
It is
cool
dumb
stuff.
expensive though.
It was a cool idea, and I've always liked this idea. I played Warhammer 40K growing up, and I wish they had done something like this with Warhammer. Like, oh, you can bring your armies into Dawn of War or whatever, like the Warhammer games. That'd be great. Like, that's what I wanted as a kid, because there weren't always people other than my brother to play with, and sometimes he's really annoying. So, anyway. But yeah, I mean, hey, like, look, yeah, the Steam sale, it's $9 to get 3.0.
Well, you just sold me, because I'm going to grab this. So when you say it's like Power Stone, so they're just all in a
they're all in an arena.
Fighting?
There are randomly buttons will pop up that you can hit, and they'll cause stage events to happen. So like the ground might fall away, or suddenly part of the arena becomes electrified. There were also things in Disney Infinity called power discs that's how Iron Patriot at this time, War Machine, would show up. He'll come in and just die, like rocket bomb the whole arena, or Ant-Man will come in and turn into Giant Man and stomp on all the enemies. So, and you're just like, you're running around hitting people. It's like 3-button combat, like heavy, weak, heavy, and then a throw, and then a jump, and then you have your special abilities. So like if it's Iron Man, your default is you can shoot from far away. Captain America throws a shield, that kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, it was, again, this is something that came out like the tail end of Disney Infinity. No one talked about Battlegrounds.
Yeah, I don't know why I assumed that Disney Infinity was just like gone. Like these games were just off the market.
So the only thing that
kind of stuff is
the user content is like, well, and on the PC version, I'm sure there's a way to get it back in, but like there's no way to share your levels anymore. But I don't think anyone cares, especially if you're playing like this Powerstone version. Your character level doesn't really matter. But there's also skill trees to characters, so like, you can like customize Hulkbuster so that he's just throwing out munitions and whatnot, versus, I don't know, Ultron can create duplicates of himself. So now you have like 3 Ultrons fighting on the screen instead of 1.
Wow.
So.
Ultron.
Yeah,
no, you just sold me. It is now in my cart.
All right.
So yeah. So I mean,
and if you just to throw this out there, if you like the idea of Powerstone, might we recommend Combat Core, who the developer has been on our show 3 times?
Yeah, that's on the Switch now too. Actually,
yeah, and being like still being updated, and
it's also less than $10.
And it's also less than $10 on Steam right now.
Nice. Combat Core. Okay.
Now we're just selling games.
There we go.
This is
I swear there's no coupon
segment.
codes.
Yeah, brother by the name of
I can't use code GameEnthus and save some money.
Yeah. My brother by the name of
25
Micah
cents?
Betts was the developer of a Combat Core. He has to put it in VR too, so he's playable in VR.
I forgot it was in VR.
It's on like everything. Yeah, it's on
that
the
was
Switch,
nothing I
Xbox
would ever try.
One, the Wii. It's on the Wii U. Wow, it was on the Wii U too.
It's a long time in development.
Yeah, we see. I met him at MAGfest.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
So.
see, that's a callback.
Oh. But other than that, I'm honestly I don't think I can play. Well, I mean, again, the video game stuff. I started Lego's Avengers, and it's super weird. It starts with the beginning of Age of Ultron, so it's like you fighting through the woods as the Avengers, but it's in the time where they're using the lines from the movie, but like they're just stripping them from the movie, and it's super weird because like at points it's lines from other movies that like are like Tony Stark making fun of someone could be from like Iron Man 2 or whatever, and you're like, wait, that's not. Oh, okay. So, but aside from that, those are I've been on a superhero kick. So,
I was saying I played Roll and Write with some friends. We've been playing. Just getting creative, doing stuff remotely. So I have the physical version of a prototype for a game called Three Sisters. It's pretty cool. It's a roll and write where you're just imagine a game where you're sort of like bouncing around, getting different bonuses, things like that. So I played that with Amanda Panda, Book of Nerds, and Mandy from the Dice Tower and To Die For Games. A game called Overboss came in, tile placement game. This plays solo. It came from a game called Boss Monster, 16-bit looking game. Kind of looks like if you looked at the box art, it would remind you of like Link to the Past.
Oh,
and
wow. Okay.
in that game, you're just trying to create a dungeon to kill heroes. So you want to attract heroes to this is the original game. You want to attract heroes into your dungeon and then have certain cards laid out to make sure they die before they get through and damage because you are the boss. So you'll make sure that they die before they get through. But anyway, this game takes that element, but then you're instead of creating the dungeon, you're creating an overworld to score points. It's the most powerful overworld with the most enemies and the most environments that play off each other to earn points. So that's real cool.
That's cool.
A video for Cubitoes. I played that with Amanda last week. It's a game with like 150 dice, something like that. And it's a racing game. You race around a track, but you're rolling dice and buying more dice. It's a bag building game. You're trying to buy better because the ones you start off with are terrible. Only one face does something on like all of them, except maybe like for 2. You're trying to get more stuff. And again, you have like, I don't know, 15, 17 dice when you start off with like 9. So you buy dice. It's strictly racing. You're racing and trying to just move around the board. And I played some Machi Koro, which is a game. You have dice, you buy cards, and the pit values match the numbers. You can either get something else. It's kind of a game where like there's no downtime. So even if it's your turn and you roll a 3, I might have cards that trigger a 3 to get me something or to steal something from somebody else. So you always have to pay attention because even if it's not your turn, things can happen. So that's pretty cool. Playing some Duck Souls Plus on the Switch. It's a little cute pixely platformer. You die over and over again, and you just start. It's these little tight levels, a lot of spikes and stuff. It's pretty cool. This one you might like. Blue Fire on the Switch. Action puzzle platformer. Kind of has that like Dark Souls thing where like when you die, whatever you've accrued stays where it is. You want to go back and retrieve it. So it has that kind of roguelike kind of thing going on, but you can pick up what you left. The platforming is a little floaty, but I like it. The action is really nice in it. I don't know.
Why is it called Blue Fire?
I don't know.
Okay.
I have not figured that out yet.
Titles are they're just optional.
I'm still.
I thought you were gonna say like, oh, that's the fire and whatever their campfire is or whatever.
No,
or,
not yet.
Okay.
Maybe it might be obvious. I'm just oblivious to it. I've been playing Turrican Flashback, which is like Turrican, I guess Super Turrican, Mega Turrican.
It's like everything but Super Turrican 2. Right?
Yes, exactly. And what's weird is why all the Turrican games why is your character like between the middle of the screen and the far right? So when you're running, you have almost no space to get out of the way of enemies. Why do you run so far to the right?
Because it's European.
I was gonna say it's an Amiga game. Like it's Do you push up to jump?
You don't have to, and you can rewind.
Okay, but you
don't
can
have
push
to.
Up to jump.
No, you can just hit a button to jump, but the rewinding.
Now there's more buttons, but the reason that you pushed up to jump because there wasn't at that point.
Exactly.
So,
and the levels are sprawling, and
European.
I die more because I'm running out of time. Like I'll get to the boss finally, but I have 15 seconds to win. Rewinding is not going to help me. I may as well just start the whole level over again. So
that does look good. I looked at a couple of previews of that, and I think I do want to try it out. Man, Game Pass has been the greatest thing.
Yes, it is.
I just discovered it, and I was just like, all these games, and like games I legit would have spent money on. You know, every dope indie game is there, and I'm like, oh wow, you know. So it's blowing my mind.
Yeah, my kids will try. So I just come in the room. Daughter was trying. My youngest was playing Donut County. It's on Game Pass.
Yeah.
So why not?
You know, have to buy any new games. It's like, here you go.
Could you have imagined this when you were a kid? Like you get a console and have access to like 200 games.
But that's basically what Sega Channel was.
Nobody had that though.
Well, right. Nobody had it. That's the big
like,
difference.
You spend a lot more, yeah.
But like, think about it. And we've had this talk. Man, this sounds like old man talk.
We are getting older.
The free to play games, like the quality of Fortnite or whatnot that you can play right now, the games you get for free for just having Amazon Prime
every month, every week. It seemed like
I could never have imagined being like, I haven't spent a dime. Like as a kid, if my parents had Amazon Prime, I still have all these access to these games. I didn't spend a dime on it. Like, no, games came on cartridges. They were $90.
But actually, now after I mentioned Sega Channel, maybe a better comparison is just own a PC in the late 80s, early 90s, and you just owned all the games.
You stole everything. Yes,
you just buy it because you could. You could pirate anything you want.
You stole it. There's a difference here. Like,
yeah, it's totally legit. You don't have to risk anything.
Like like I'm not having to like make sure I have a photocopy so I can figure out what the 3 questions are to start the game.
Page 58.
Those are the best types of copy protection.
What was Mysterio's secret job in the Spider? Anyway,
that's the Spider-Man PC game where your health meter was a picture of Spider-Man on the right side, and you become a skeleton. Right. You took damage.
As you lose health, Spider-Man's costume just disappears, and it's just skeleton
and his flesh. Keep in mind, his flesh.
Yeah,
and it's but yes, there are. You have to answer 5 questions before out of like 30 questions. Wow. And the community center that I spent a lot of my childhood at just had all the answers written down on the disc sleeve.
It's the community center where you all breakdance that one summer to save it, right? That's the.
I mean.
There's a
video. There's a very scary video of me on the step squad at that community center, and
I would pay money. I would pay money to see
this. I guess you should reach out to one of my siblings and see if they can find it because there's no way in hell I'm ever sharing it.
Rest in peace to Ozone, by the way.
But I mean, this is also the same community center that I grew. Anyway, that's where I grew up in West End in Wilmington. In Wilmington, Delaware. So, but yes, they had just like all the answers scrawled on the side of that diskette. It's like, cool, we know how to do this.
Yes, the copy protection that can be defeated by the pen
or a piece of cellophane.
Right.
I'll finish up.
Do you guys think? And I'm sure you've discussed this before. Do you feel like Sony has to do something similar to Game Pass in order to compete, or nah?
No, I don't think they do. I think they're doing fine.
I think their PlayStation collection is kind of so if you bought a PS5, you get access to the PlayStation Classics.
Yeah,
and that's like something like 100 PlayStation. If you didn't have a PS4,
not that many, is it?
It's 20.
Oh, is it? I thought
think it
maybe
was
they said
100.
they were gonna get. Maybe they said they were gonna get to 100. But like, if you didn't have a PS4, you now have access to God of War, Days Gone, like all the big hits that were on.
Yeah, you do.
On PS4 for free. Like that just comes with you bought a $500 console.
If you're a PS4 fan, and just keep in mind there are over 100 million of those people, you probably already have a lot of that stuff anyway.
There's a fair that's a fair point to that, but also
it's still nice
that not everyone is like you or I, and goes out and buys a bunch of games. So like
I used
having
to,
access
now,
to access to that stuff is like
it's a lot like waves in the ocean, because it's like sometimes Game Pass is looking like amazing and some brand new stuff like Cyber Shadow comes out. It's like, oh, it's just there and you can play it and stuff. And then it's like, well, PlayStation Plus just gave you Destruction All-Stars, which they're like, we were going to charge $70 for this game. Like,
glad they didn't.
I mean, granted, I would have never paid money for this game at all, but as a brand new, here's a native PS5 piece of software, I'll definitely download it and check it out and say, hey, this was a really good month for PlayStation Plus between that and Control and
I forgot
what's the third one?
I don't remember.
But whatever. I mean, yeah, it's like this is better than games with gold in a long time, but they don't really have to worry so much about it because
they put that Indiana Jones game on Games with Gold, though.
They put that on Games with Gold, which I tried to play during Extra Life like 2-3 years ago because I have it on GOG, and that game stinks.
Okay.
So don't necessarily bother with that game.
But they also put Breakdown on.
It just broke my heart, but okay, all right, cool.
I mean, it might be fine for its time, but in today's, like, compare it to, I don't know, better mechanics games, it's like,
but you have to go in knowing, like, it's going to be some jank, it's...
I did.
Is that bad?
I forget exactly, but there was something like where some enemy who I thought was trying to kill me, I really just had to chase him down because he wouldn't bother looking my direction just so I could advance. I'm like,
wow.
Can I just come up behind you and like choke you out with this whip or something, please? Because you're impeding my progress because your AI is too stupid.
Good to know.
That's pretty bad.
All right. And the last thing I'll just talk about, what's the last two? Landfill Odyssey. If you look at the title, like the font, it looks like Netflix, I guess. Well, obviously, it's weird. And like the game is about this guy who's, I guess you're like watching TV, and it's a platformer. So you're collecting coins to unlock new episodes of like parody shows. So like instead of Stranger Things, it's like weird stuff or something like this. It's like a Game of Thrones parody, a Breaking Bad parody. And unlock each episode, you have to have like 50 coins and like 52 coins or whatever to keep playing. So it gates the progress by getting coins. It's nothing revolutionary, but it can be kind of funny.
This was called Landfill Odyssey?
I believe so.
Man, nothing is coming up.
Cool. Just say, I would have guessed that this is a game where you're digging up copies of E.T.
What platform did you play this on?
Maybe I'm getting the name right. It was on the Xbox One. Landfill something. I don't know.
Man, yeah, nothing is coming up.
And then last thing
you just imagine this. This is your design doc you're just putting out on the internet.
And last thing is a game called Shing, SHING ! I'm playing this on Xbox One. 4 different characters. You can switch between them by hitting the D-pad and up, down, left, or right. It's like a side-scrolling beat 'em up, but you have like 3D movement within, like you have the whole Z-axis to walk. It's not like Guardian Heroes where you're jumping back in different planes. You can just walk to and fro from the foreground to the background, sort of. And you can use the right stick to attack. You mean like
Final Fight or like any other side-scrolling beat 'em up?
Yeah, but it's 3D models moving, and yes.
So you're on a plane, like it's not just
you're on a plane, but I guess
like the snakes are.
I over describe. Yes, I like that movie. I should watch it again. Hopefully, it was fun. It was dumb, but it was fun.
It's dumb fun. There you go.
Very much so.
Dumb fun.
Well, anyway, you can fight by using the right stick. And it's pretty neat. Like you can do a bunch of like combos and some pretty cool parry moves. I'm stuck on the first boss because it's just kind of too difficult. Because it just, it's weird. But I don't know. The game is pretty fun. It's very violent too. A lot of heads and stuff being chopped off and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
Pretty decent cutscenes, some voiceovers. So they put some work into it. So that's it for me. I might want to do yours, and then we'll get out of here.
Yeah, just a couple things briefly. I played with Tiny online a couple of times in Black Ops Cold War, which I still contend is not as good as the previous Call of Duty Modern Warfare. But it's not, it's not terrible or anything. It's kind of fun, and played. Tiny, did we mention playing Prop Hunt at some point? Like, if we didn't, I mean, it wasn't the last thing we played, but like Prop Hunt is a very strange mode in Call of Duty where half it's two teams. One team are people, and the other team are pieces of trash that float around in the map, hide and disguise themselves as just the background. And if they stay hidden and don't get shot, then the trash wins. But if the people find all of the trash and shoot it, then they win. And you can kind of like stay still in a shadow, or you can you have like two opportunities through the round, and it's round based, to change what piece of junk that you are. Like, you could be a garbage can, you could be like a weathered like pallet, or like a chair or something. Just like,
I've always wanted to be a chair.
Like things, and
always my
like
favorite.
Obviously you blend in and are more likely not to be found if you just stay still. But if like you think it's a bad spot, or if someone's found you, there's no alternative but to run away, and then you're just like a plastic piece of chair sliding around this map trying to escape being shot by machine gun fire. It is one of the nuttier things.
Bizarre.
It really is. And it's not brand new to this. I played it before in at least Black Ops 4, but it may be older than that. It's definitely a Treyarch thing, because Infinity Ward's like, nah, we don't want anything to do with this mode. But it was silly.
Prop Hunt.
I never heard of that mode before.
Neither had I.
It's clearly not like you're never gonna see that in like an esport competition or something. It's ridiculous.
I'm the best at hide and go seek, and now I've brought that to Call of Duty.
One other thing I'll mention real quick though is I did finally install the mode in my Dreamcast just today. And
what does the mode stand for, Mike?
The I think it's multi or multiple optical disc optical drive emulator, I guess.
There you go.
And it's for the Dreamcast, for the Saturn, and now for the PlayStation 1. But the Dreamcast is easiest to install. That's only really what I'm going to use it for. And thankfully, all the images that I put on my hard drive work, at least the ones I've tested so far. They all show up. It's great. But one thing that through this whole process, had no idea, this is not even why I bought it, but apparently only the mode, like you cannot burn this to a disc, and the GDMU, which is one of the previous drive emulators that ran strictly on SD card media, none of these ran this correctly, but the Atomus Wave emulator or something apparently works pretty much perfectly with the mode on a Dreamcast, and that is what the Fist of the North Star fighting game that only came out in Japan runs on. And I have wanted to play this game for so long, and the only chance I ever got is 1 year somebody brought the actual arcade machine to MAGfest, so I got a chance to play it once, and the guy I played against knew one of the kill moves, and after a couple of rounds he's just like, do you want to just see one of the the 7 fingers of death or something, whatever it was? I was like, yeah, do it. This is great. And he did it, and I was like, yeah, this is awesome. And I got a chance to play it tonight, and I put maybe an hour into it, and I just wish this game had come out in the US. It's like, this is so cool. I feel like if this had come out when I was still into fighting games in the arcade and stuff, I really would have been into this. And now it's just, I'm only ever going to play the PC. I mean, not PC, the AI. I'm never going to be like super into learning all the moves or whatever, but it looks so good. And it's like the animation, the art style. It's like there's so much voice work. There's so many like crazy moves
How do you play it? Like, can you use a joystick with it, or are you stuck with the Dreamcast?
Well, I have a
controller.
I have a Dreamcast joystick. I have 2 of the officially released Sega ones. I think in the US they might have been branded by like Agitech or something, but I got into the Dreamcast when it was only in Japan, so like most of my crap is from straight from Japan. But anyway, like I only played it with the controller, and it worked actually just fine. Like I was able to pull off all the moves like quite easily, and that D-pad is like super mushy. So anyway, it was cool. I'm really glad I got a chance to check that out, and I'll put some more time into it. But now I've got a whole bunch of other Dreamcast games that I haven't touched in like 20 years. I got my old memory cards, my VMUs out, and I'm looking at save files with dates on them from like 99 or 2000. I'm like, yeah, I can go back into PSO and look at my character, and that's about it, because I'm not going to do anything else with that game.
It's hard to go back to that stuff.
It is, but it's like, but I also go, I don't want to lose my save file.
The one that you never intend to use.
Exactly.
I get it.
I'm going to freeze that VMU in carbonite, and then I'll put it up on the shelf.
Don't look.
So anyway, okay. just a couple of things. So I'm good.
All right. All right. Well, that does bring us to our conclusion here. Megaran, any shout outs, plugs, anything? All your links to everything will be in the show notes. Links to your book, all that good stuff.
Oh, cool. But grab the book. Dreammasterbook.com. There's Black Materia Remake. You can get it wherever you get music.
I was gonna say we didn't really talk about that, but I know that was also a recent release.
Oh yeah, I think it's really good. So check it out. Give it a listen if you like Final Fantasy VII. You'll love it. If you don't know Final Fantasy VII at all, I think you'll still.
What are your thoughts on the remake? I don't know if
I loved it. Okay. It was great. I was blown away. It almost brought me to tears a few moments, just seeing the cool graphical enhancements. So that's kind of what we did with the remake. This is that much of a jump, from me mixing records in my closet on cracked software to like going to the best studio I could find and really, really hammering it out with real instrumentation and having a good time with it. So yeah, super proud of the record. You can go get it. We're doing a vinyl campaign right now. I think there's a few days left. You can get vinyl. You have to pre-order it to get it. GameChops.bandcamp.com. You can get me on Twitter at megaran. You can get me on Twitch at mega_ran. And that's really it. I'm everywhere though.
All right.
Thank you for having me though, guys.
No, it's been good. I had no idea it'd been since 2012.
Dang, 2012. Not like I've done anything since then. So you caught me at a good time. This is like I quit my job and then I put out a book. The rest of it is not as important.
I read that book, y'all. Yes. And don't read it so you could ask really personal questions when you see Megaran in person. How did you do this?
So about that kindergarten thing, I'm like, oh geez. But I'm gonna totally listen to the old episode for sure, because I'm very curious what we talked about. I love little time capsule things like that.
Yeah, I guess that's what podcasts are for, to kind of let you know what you
have some homework. Yeah.
what you were up to.
See what we've learned since then.
Hopefully
Thank you guys so much. I will see you very soon. And of course, we'll all see you on the internet. And you did a successful job, Tiny, in selling me on. So I'm looking forward to playing it.
I'm happy to hear that.
Nice.
Mike, do you have any shout outs you want to throw out there?
Just as I always do, encourage anyone who's eligible to donate blood, and anyone who has pets to have them spayed or neutered.
And you want to go?
Oh, yeah, me. I do say things, don't I? If you listen to the show, thank you for checking it out. If you want to reach us via email, you can do so at podcast@GameEnthus.com. Or receive the voicemail, 202-573-7686. Check out the myriad of things that are going up on YouTube, video game content, board game content, all that good stuff. That's it for me. Tiny.
Hey, can you believe it's already the beginning, or the middle of February, and you haven't signed up for your Extra Life page yet? You should go to extra-life.org, sign up, and raise money for your local Children's Miracle Network hospital. There's 170 to choose from. So you can raise for one close to you or one that is important to you across Canada and the U.S. So, for example, I raised for Children's Hospital Philadelphia, and currently we're number one, so, and continue to be. So, and you can also go to GameEnthus.com/extra-life, extra-life, right? I'm waiting
Extra-life, yes.
Good. And go there, donate to your favorite Game Enthus personality. 100% of what you donate goes directly to their children's hospital. So, check that out. And otherwise, I think we're out of here.
Peace.
Peace.
Sweet.